There's one military force in the Dune universe that everyone is afraid of. The great houses fear them. The Bene Gesserit work around them. The Emperor uses them as a threat that holds the entire Imperium in line. Frank Herbert tells us directly in Children of Dune that one Sardaukar is as good as 10 ordinary soldiers. Their swordsmanship is on par with Duncan Idaho's. Their cunning in close combat matches a Bene Gesserit adept. They're the most feared soldiers in the known universe. And even though they're the most feared, they're not the best soldiers in the Imperium. In this video, I'm breaking down what the Sardaukar actually are, where they came from, how the Emperor manufactures them on a prison planet, why their fighting ability is so great, and who the best soldiers in the universe of Dune actually are. Hi, my name's Cody, and welcome to the Understory. If you've ever read a book or watched a movie and wanted to keep talking about it, that's what this channel is all about. Mostly fantasy and sci-fi, but sometimes just whatever's worth taking a closer look at. And hey, if you enjoy what this channel's doing and you like these videos, consider hitting subscribe. I have new videos coming out every single week, and I appreciate it more than you know. Now, let's get back to the video. The Sardaukar are the Emperor's personal army, House Carino's force. But here's the thing, they're actually not used that much. The Imperium runs on balance. The great houses sit in the Landsraad, Chom controls the economy, and the Emperor sits on top, holding everything together. The reason that balance works is the Sardaukar. No individual house can match them, so no individual house ever even tries. They almost never see actual real combat. They don't have to. The great houses behave because everyone knows what could happen if they don't. On a very base level, that's what the Sardaukar actually are. They're not this weapon that the Emperor uses often. It's a weapon that the Emperor doesn't have to use, because the reputation of the Sardaukar keep the great houses in line. Now, the Sardaukar come from one place. It's Salusa Secundus, the Imperium's prison planet. The worst criminals from across the universe get sent there. Now, what Frank Herbert tells us about Salusa is brutal. 6 out of every 13 people die on the planet before the age of 11. The survivors are the recruitment pool for the Sardaukar. The Imperium maintains the planet's harshness, specifically because brutality is what produces this great of a soldier. Now, Frank Herbert gave us the prison planet, the mortality rate, the recruitment pipeline, but there is a fuller backstory that's given from Brian Herbert and Kevin Anderson's prequel novels. Now, most longtime readers don't count the prequels as canon, but I'm going to include it because it adds a little extra texture. So take this as some flavor, not as me saying that it's the canon, but in those prequels, what we learn is that Salusa was the former imperial capital, and it was devastated by an atomic bombardment in a forgotten war. The point, either way, is the Emperor runs a hellscape to breed his elite soldiers. The peace of the Imperium is paid for by children who die on Salusa before they're even 11. It's crazy. Now, the training is the other half of it. Sardaukar are recruited as children. They're indoctrinated from the start with one core belief: the Emperor is divine. Not a metaphor, they worship him. And that's where the fanaticism comes from. They don't fear death because they are serving a god. And a soldier who doesn't fear death has an advantage no amount of training can produce. Now, the training is still relentless: knife, shield, formation tactics. And by the time the training is done, we learn that in Children of Dune, their swordsmanship is comparable to a Ginaz 10th level. That's the school that trained Duncan Idaho. Their cunning in close fighting is comparable to a Bene Gesserit adept. They're not just these brutes. They're calibrated against the best the Imperium has, and there are a lot of them. Now, this is where they show up in the plot of Dune. Shaddam IV, the Emperor, gets nervous about Duke Leto Atreides. Leto has become way too popular in the Landsraad, too good at building alliances, the kind of leader who could maybe unify the houses against the Emperor someday. So the Emperor needs him gone, but he can't openly attack a great house. That would shatter all of the order that he's worked so hard for and that he depends on. So he does it secretly. He loans the Sardaukar legions to the Harkonnens, disguises them in Harkonnen uniforms to assault House Atreides on Arrakis, and the plan works. House Atreides falls in a single night, but Leto and his Mentat Hiwat figure it out almost immediately. The speed and discipline of the attack gave it away. The Emperor broke his own rules, and Paul Atreides is going to weaponize that eventually. Here's what Paul notices that no one else does. The Sardaukar were bred by Salusa Secundus, a harsh planet, a brutal training regimen, religious fanaticism. That's the formula. That's how you produce elite soldiers at scale. But Arrakis is even harsher. The Fremen have been living on Arrakis for thousands of years. There's no water. The desert tries to kill you every day. The sandworms try to kill you every day. Other tribes try to kill you. The Harkonnens hunt you for sport. Every Fremen who reaches adulthood has done it by surviving an environment Salusa Secundus would call a bad weekend. And the Fremen religion makes them just as fanatical as the Sardaukar, maybe more fanatical once Paul shows up and they decide that he is the Messiah. The Emperor knew. There are passages in Dune where Shaddam is shown getting reports about the Fremen capabilities. The numbers don't add up. The encounter losses don't add up. He keeps suppressing the information because the implication is unthinkable. That his Sardaukar might not be the best. That there's someone that could actually match them or surpass them. And he's right to be afraid because at the climax of Dune, Paul captures the Emperor and lays it out directly. The Fremen outnumber the Sardaukar significantly. They outclass them in combat, and they're loyal to Paul, not the Emperor. The Sardaukar weren't the best soldiers in the Imperium, the Fremen were. The Emperor got lucky that for the entire history of his Imperium, no one had noticed. The Emperor built a prison planet to breed perfect soldiers. He didn't notice that the desert was building better ones this entire time. So that's the Sardaukar, the most feared soldiers in the universe, manufactured by a prison planet, calibrated against the best blades and the best minds that the Imperium had, and ultimately surpassed by the people the Imperium couldn't be bothered to take seriously. If you want more on the Imperium and how it actually works, I've got videos on what spice really is and on the Bene Gesserit, but subscribe for more Dune, sci-fi, fantasy, and the worlds underneath them. And I'll see you in the next one.